Welcome. These will be my thoughts on Runaways Season 1, Episode 3, Destiny. The episode is rated TV-14, so will this video be? There will be spoilers for certainly these first 3 episodes, potentially everything MCU and adjacent that had come out when this episode first premiered. And I continue to find things to love about the show, but no episode has been just a complete home run for me yet. And let's see. I guess I'll just briefly note, yeah, for me, I can practically feel the writer's hands moving pieces, into place in a slightly awkward way. There's, yeah. I did really appreciate finding out, some more stuff about, the background. Like, I still don't really know the I don't know. I mean, right now my theory is maybe is it possible that maybe Pride was started specifically to heal um, the elder Dean, the father of or of Mrs. Dean, or maybe oh wait, crap. I guess that means his name wouldn't be Dean, would it? Because she probably had to change her name because of patriarchy when she got married. Anyway, her father, um, or maybe is it possible that he was also in the fire that killed the parents of Molly? But I appreciate the way that we are just gradually getting, and also just having, I don't know, just the fact that hippie parents verbally acknowledged that they have a dinosaur in their basement. Now, up until this point, I had been wondering what Molly has been. Did I really see what I've felt pretty confident I saw? And yeah, good job casting the kids versions of the 6, 7 back then, I guess. In the 10 years ago thing. Yeah, I think that is it for the overarching. So let's go. Okay, it's definitely not gonna be chronological, but scene by scene. Yeah, the entire flashback opening was very nicely done. Um, appreciate that the contrast that after the funeral after the coffin's been put in the ground. Do you think it? Do you ever wonder if anyone like quits clowning and goes into like funeral homery and like really struggles with against the urge to make the thing that like lowers the coffin in to make it like go back up just a little bit? Probably just me. And the wondering that, not considering that. I put clownery 100% behind me, except for these videos. No, yeah. So once they're like eating and such after, like some of the adults, are like talking about like, do you think they suspect us? Whilst the others are, do you think they suspect we suspect them? But the kids are like playing Uno. That's yeah, accurate. And yeah, the hippie parents, go up, and I did really appreciate. I gotta say, if anyone was to master like dad jokery and daddery in general, Yeah, um, Marshall Flinkman. I'm still struggling to remember who what the actor's name actually is, and risk too sore to check right now. But yeah, no surprise that he would be adept at that. Um, like if it ain't Baroque, don't fix it. And generally like really sweet, the thing about like saying, oh, because she's like, no, I'm not hungry, but the stuffed animal is. Do you think dad jokers ever struggle against the urge to be like, okay, well then I'll just take your stuffed animal and go feed him and you don't get to eat anything today? But the um yeah, okay, I just want to make absolutely clear. I am not a parent, nor will I ever be, but that is definitely not something that I would ever do under any circumstances. Not even like as a joke. Like yeah, we're gonna move on. But the um yeah, he like goes along with, oh, the the stuffed elephant is it's weird that we call it stuffed animal, because like that kind of makes one think of like what are they called again? Because those are also called like stuffed. You say an animal has been stuffed when it's like, you know taxidermy. So but the anyway, I'm doing way too many digressions this one. Okay, we're gonna get to the point here. Yeah, the thing about like, oh, your stuffed elephant needs something to eat. Well, here's the name of a type of grass that is common around the parts that the elephant is native to. Just like that's a really cool thing to do for a kid. So that's, yeah. And they talk about how the I just gotta mention, holy crap, Pride really don't mess around, do they? They murdered wait, no, yeah, I'm pretty sure they were members of Pride, weren't they? I feel like they said that in the episode. um and they were like thinking of leaving behind Pride or something along those lines. Anyway, yeah, they murder people because of yeah, they were like, oh, there's a married couple who are, an impediment in any way, kill it with fire. Yeah, that really this is a good time in the season to be solidifying just the depths of depravity and evil that they're capable of. And let's see. Yeah, I think that pretty well gets us to the so yeah. They're like, well, you know, we really miss your parents, and we were thinking maybe you wanted to come live with us, and yeah, hippie dad, like try, put, let's see, like holds her hand, Molly's hand or something. And I just want there to be an outtake where she looks him dead in the eye and goes, I'm weighing my options. But no, that is genuinely a sweet, yeah, they really don't belong in Pride, do they? But it's one of those things, like, it's like with the mob, the fact that you're through with them doesn't mean they're going to put their torches and pitchforks down. Works for the other kind of mob too, doesn't it? But the arguably even better. So, but yeah, and then cut from Molly to Molly 10 years prior to Molly today, and yeah, um, the yeah, she yet again, her powers trigger again, and she tears out the drawer. Um, at first, when Gert enters the room, I was slightly unclear on eyeline because like she says what's going on in here, so I thought, oh, can she see the the um yeah, torn out drawer, but then it sounds like she's just saying what's going on with you, like she didn't seem that yeah. Anyway, but yeah, the thing about like she's looking for this thing, and then Gert's like, well, what does it matter? And Molly's like, but it was my parents, and I appreciate Gert actually being like, I'm sorry, I forgot, and because yeah, like it's important to be able to apologize to people who deserve it. If you mess up, there's no shame in it. And I really appreciate so yeah, there's a couple of things here, because there are several people represented here that a lot of people who are conservative and or misogynist, but I repeat myself, and or male, who they don't think that women, teenagers, or progressives, people who fall in at least one of those, ever apologize. And when I hear some of them talk about it, it's more like, no, it's just that the person you're asking to apologize to you wasn't actually wrong. But yeah, I think that does cover that. Yeah, so we have the yeah, Jeffrey talking to Alex's mom, whose name also escapes me at the moment. And you have the thing about like, maybe it was, like, because that's the thing, like, it does genuinely, you could understand why one of them is being really cautious and why the other is willing to accept the story, and like Jeffrey's basically like, he's not sure if he believes that Molly actually, took a flash photo of what they were doing, but he's going to tell about, he wants his wife to be fully informed about what's, so yeah, let's see. I think that and yeah, the thing about, oh, we'll use the mind, stuff on her, and then we're told Frank Dean has not been the same since it was used on him. So I guess that helps further underline, yeah, at one point he did find out, I guess, or maybe just ask too many questions or something. But yeah, and I think that brings us to the let's see. I guess this is a fine place to put it. I completely forgot. I don't know how. But yeah, I know I already mentioned Kip Pardue and the actor playing Marshall Flinkman. I completely forgot. The actress playing Carolina. She was in Halloween 2018. I don't know. I guess for some reason I just couldn't quite recognize. I quite like her in that, as well as here. Now, I think that does cover the let's see. Does that get us to the part where they're all where the six meet back up? Maybe let's go there. So yeah, we have the oh, actually, I guess it's yeah. So um the yeah, we have the bit where um Miss Dean's daughter, who I guess if a Canadian were to ask, are you really who I think you are? They could ask, are you Carolina Dina? But the yeah, that was a nice little moment of, hello, I'm talking to you. But the but yeah, the she got the thing from supposedly from Destiny, but yeah, the what's the word? Yeah, the you have let's see, and she also sees the two um hopefully former friends of Chase, is apparently his name, posting about him. Yeah, and yeah, I thought it worked well the way that we see, so Alex is already on the beach. The others come to him, and the way that, yeah, um the thing about Molly, like, being like, seriously, that guy, and he's like, oh, good morning, Molly, good morning. And yeah, Nico, whose look actually makes the how on IMDb, if there's a movie, it's going to be like the cover of the movie when you look up, for TV shows and such. The individual episodes have stills from the episodes, from that particular episode, and yeah, this one, it's her on the beach with the parasol, I think it's called, and up and everything, and just like, yeah, it's really nicely done, the way she stands in such stark contrast to the sunny day. Let's see. I can't help but notice that we've only seen her so far in this show either during a funeral or a mere 2 years after the one of her sister. So did she used to dress like this, or maybe she started when her sister died? Maybe she's just ready in case a funeral breaks out around her. And the I don't know, I feel like there's probably at least some of the Addams family for whom that's 100% the case. But yeah, I think that brings, yeah, and they're like, well, what about, Carolina? And then she shows up, and I mean, when she shows her phone, it is one of those things where I don't know if it's being overly generous towards some of the people working on this show, which again, to reiterate, I don't have very many issues with the show so far. The moment that I saw that picture, I mean, I feel pretty confident that what was his name? Richard, maybe Jason. There's so many names I can't keep track. Chase's dad. I felt pretty confident that he didn't send Destiny on an all-expensive paid trip to London. So I know that it's supposed to be Photoshop. I mean, I guess, okay, I'm thinking the idea is that we are meant to immediately clock it as Photoshop. It's also maybe they were worried that audiences would be confused or something, but the let's see. So at least one of the characters immediately says, well, that's Photoshop, obviously. And I think the idea is we're supposed to be on side that's obviously Photoshop and realize that Carolina is being like, what's the word? She's just desperate to think that this is what it, yeah. Let's see. But yeah, I thought it worked well the way that they talked about, the various, there's different things to look into, and the poor Molly. Nobody believes her. And then her mom, played by Nicole Kidman, asks her to stop breathing that, kind of annoyed way at the dinner table, but I think that does the thing about, so yeah, when Gert tells the thing about what's the word, I'll she and Chase will look for the see if they can find the sacrificial chamber. I'm sorry, I recently watched the first Alien vs. Predator movie. I decided that I was gonna watch every official movie that has a predator in it. So that's where that came from. I watched that trailer like 100 times back in 2004, so that line is burnt into my memory. Better than some forms of math. But yeah, let's see. The I don't know. Yeah, when I was like a teenager, I liked Paul W. Sanderson, and then I stopped making excuses for him. I could always tell that his movies weren't exactly like, Cronenberg, for example. Someone's actually incredibly gifted. Anyway, and doesn't squander the gifts. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, they'll look for the place, the coffin. Let's go with that. And then we can study for the Spanish test. I brought flashcards, and I think that pretty much covers the right, and the thing with Alex and Nico, yeah, so they are, gradually building towards a romance. So far, it's just, he was the one she called, and there's the kiss, but beyond that, and I also appreciate the way that, when he leans in, he does it just slowly enough that, I mean, clearly she has the confidence to say no if she wanted to. So it's, yeah, if she did not consent to a kiss. Yeah, I think, but yeah, he suggests they team up, and she says no. And also the thing about, Gert trying to shoo away Carolina. This team's full. There's also potentially a love triangle brewing between Gert, Chase, and Carolina. And he chooses to not tell Carolina when she asks, yeah, about the other two. I really hope it's because he doesn't want her to be scared, rather than that, like, he's trying to keep intact their reputation or something, or yeah. Let's see. I think that does pretty much. Right, I think I forgot to mention in my video on the second episode, but I did like when she thanked Chase for everything tonight. So also you know, the party, post-party lift. And yeah, I think, does that pretty much bring us to the I guess, yeah, let's go with the so yeah, you have the part where Carolina is, looking at the painting, and is it terrible to hope just a tiny, teensy bit that the guy who works for the Deans pops up just briefly? Maybe not every episode, but more, because he's a lot of fun. Yeah, he was pretty clueless with Carolina with the colors. Oh, you mean discoloration around the wrist? Oh yeah, sure. Meanwhile, he was incredibly clueful when it came to Frank. Or maybe that's just in comparison to Frank. And yeah, the thing about, so you've never taken it off? Well, once or twice. I just want there to be an outtake where she goes, "Busted! I'm wearing a wire. I'm watching The Wire." And yeah, I think that does cover that scene. So we have, yeah, Molly, goes to a coffee shop, listens to. That was also a good transition with the music to, first it's non-diegetic, and then it becomes diegetic. Clearly Molly was actually listening to that. And yeah, Alex's mom shows up, and yeah, the you have the thing about the she says, I think you dropped this in the, at our home. And let's see, the thing about, yeah, she claims that she was looking for the bathroom, and then says, oh, I actually have to go to the bathroom right now, and rushes, yeah, Alex's mom gets called out because she appears to be trying to jump the line, which, did that line form in the last couple of seconds, or did they let Molly skip the line because she looked like she really needed to? It was an emergency, I guess. I don't know. It felt a little weird that wasn't, because I mean, she was looking kind of aggressive the way that I feel like maybe they should have just written that someone walks up and it's like, is everything okay? Like, maybe just wait your turn, or something like that. You don't have to make it a line thing when, like, she went up to the door like immediately after Molly did. Um. Anyway, yeah. Then we have, yeah, very very clever, the thing about Molly. Um. She, yeah, she can't quite reach, so she rips out the toilet and stands up on it, and bends the bars and climbs, and tears off the window actually, and climbs through, and then collapses because she needs, yeah. And that was something where I remember reading, again, it's been a while since I read the reviews, but I remember someone really thought that was kind of a pointless display of the powers, because she gets found immediately after anyway. Um, I can't really argue with that. I do appreciate that we are now seeing that she can activate the power when she wants to. She's already getting good at controlling it, and this was also the first time where she used it exactly when and how she meant to. Like, yes, she, okay, technically lifting the car was also a case of that, but she didn't realize that right away. Here she does see the, it work. Um, okay, I guess technically when she pushes open the hidden door in episode 2 was also a case of that, but we didn't really get to see her take joy in doing it. And when she stops the car that she starts to lift, that's basically reflex. So we only see her joy afterwards, not, yeah. Um, let's see. And it is also, they don't, um, we didn't need another confirmation that, yes, it tires her out. Like, we already saw that in episode 2. Um, let's see. I think that does bring us to, I remember reading, someone pointed out that, if are they really already straying this much to get a, what's the word, for superpower use in the superpower show that they're writing. Oh, right, and I completely forgot to mention, very cool to see Roxanne Dawson direct. I mean, I think, didn't she also do maybe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? So I'm not saying it's the only Marvel, but still really cool to see, and she continues to do really well at these. But yeah, I think that brings us to the but yeah, so Alex's mom finds her there and puts her in the car, and then, wakes her up and says, "Are you feeling better?" To pretend, because Molly hopefully doesn't remember too much, and she's also just about to, mess with her memory anyway. So, but yeah, thankfully Molly realizes she has to come up with a more convincing lie. And yeah, like, I mean, so she said, the other kids made me try to, get into your liquor cabinet, so that's like, yeah, um, it's a believable lie. And, that is the risk you run when you put the secret entrance to your evil lair in the same room as a liquor cabinet, and there's a teenager in the house. I think that does bring us to, let's see, right, I guess yeah, so the surprise party thing, um, the I like the thing about, talking into the cup, like, Tina can still hear you, but yeah, he's like, they want us to, they're looking to make, to get something out of the money that they gave us, or lent us rather. And we do also see on Tina's face, like, um, and I like the thing with, Bob, Robert. Don't get too familiar. And the yeah, I like the thing about, at least now we never have to get another snarky text about Bree. And yeah, I think that does cover the let's see. Yeah, then on, as they're leaving, the Minoru's talk about Tina and Robert, talk about, like, the maybe they should go to dinner together or something. And let's see, yeah, um they get home, and she didn't check her phone, and she quickly thinks, no, you know what, you guys should totally go on a date. You should go without me. You haven't been on a date since. And then she says, the Obama administration. This episode's from 2017. I mean, for people who've been married for over 10 years, yeah, it must have been. Is that long without a date night really? That, I mean, they have pretty busy lives otherwise. I don't know. It feels like that line was written at a time when they thought that they wouldn't get to make the episode for a really long time, maybe, or I don't know. It feels like that should maybe have been, I mean, if you want to make it political, you guys haven't been on a date since Mitt Romney lost to Obama, it's, yeah. Anyway, I think the right, like the bit with Jeff. So there's the text, and it's like, oh, okay, I have time, and or yeah, he sees the text, and then he calls, thinking, I'll be really smooth, cha-cha, the I'll check out the secret room while he's, all the way away, 30 minutes away of the drive. And the yeah, he's like, I thought your text said you were, yeah, that's 30 minutes ago. And then listen, I've been a teenager. I've been thinking, like, oh no, is my parents gonna find this thing out, and try to like, I don't know. I guess it was technically worth a shot. Like, who knows? Maybe just doing the little twist of the fake, um, the thing that he has to twist. Maybe twisting it back the other way is gonna make it, close. But yeah, and then he tries to like push it shut, and it doesn't quite work. And so he runs across the hallway, so that when Jeff enters, he can call out, "Oh, hey, Dad, here I am, back here. Walk away from the study, please." And his dad opens the door because he doesn't think that, why would there be anything, why would there be any reason for him to not, and really nicely done on, we don't see until Alex sees, and it's pretty clear he wasn't sure either, but, we already knew, well, after some amount of time it'll close because it closed on them. But that was like a couple of minutes, which I guess could have been hidden by an edit. That's not criticism. I'm dissecting, but I think that works, because he also, yeah, didn't he say that he was a couple of minutes away, or something like that? So yeah, yeah, because the thing we were worried about when we saw him enter is Alex still in the study? Because like if he's caught in there, then he's in trouble. And I think that does bring us to, let's see. So there's obviously the dinner, and then there's the I think let's finish off the teenagers. So yeah. So you have the, let's see, you have the Chase and Gert, and the the X-ray goggles, which burn up some of the special effects budget for the episode, um, along with the dino crisis in the basement. I know I've said it before, and I swear I'm not trying to pick on these shows that I admire ambition. I do. It's somewhat like with, my go-to. Maybe I need to change it. Is still Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles. In that, it's, well, a Terminator, and here so far it's this, yeah, um, prehistoric guardian, or what do they call it? Something like that, Um, on the budget they have, they can't make it look completely convincing to the point where it's at least a little bit distracting, and I appreciate that they wouldn't have been able to do it with practical effects, but it is still annoying that this is the kind of thing that, like, we've seen better done with practical effects from, decades earlier than these two shows and these respective, special effects. So yeah, because hypothetically, if you just had like a puppeteer or two on the floor, and yeah, possibly animatronics for the eye, you could have made the Velociraptor look completely seamless, Now, but yeah, I 100% appreciate, it's just one of the things is also, well, so far I don't know how much they're going to use it here, and they did have to have it run away, but if they had saved the the money so for that they spend on it for just the shot of it running away, then it wouldn't have been it would have been convincing. Yeah. Moving on. But yeah, so she puts on the goggles and checks him out. Now this time facing him, she's really struggling to keep from checking him out. And I've already said that I don't think there's anything wrong with uh, women checking men out, and that we have to normalize the fact that many women do feel you know drives towards such activities. And yeah, the thing is, I am starting to understand why some people said that they think that her character is feeling a little too one note, that like everything has to relate to the progressive politics. Like, there's the thing, like he calls it a double standard and she says it's just evening the playing field. And later she says, I don't like that term being used to imply weakness. Is just a little bit much, especially considering like you could have, like if you had done away with just one of these, that would have meant a lot. I don't have an overall problem with the character of Gert, because otherwise I'm largely finding that it works. Like, early in the episode, first she, well, let's see, in two different scenes, in one of them she doesn't listen to Molly, in another she apologizes to Molly for being insensitive about her parents. She tries to get Carolina to not pursue Chase, not chase Chase. And the yeah, as already mentioned, the her checking him out, like it's varied enough, except for for example, I guess so far it really is just the progressive thing. And I don't know if it's because someone working on it thinks that all of us progressives are just like constantly annoying, which like who told them? No, I'm kidding. I can't really speak for myself. I think I probably am pretty annoying about the progressive thing, so I'm not going to pretend like none of us are. But so far she's the most prominent progressive character in the show. That's like where it's a huge part of her identity. I mean, maybe the hippies are as well, but at the end of the day, they've been priding it up with the rest of the pride, so not the best, you know, representation there either. Now, but yeah, it was clever, using the goggles to find the coffin. I guess I holy crap, yeah, I completely forgot. Yeah, I like the other scene where the with the coffin, where he's standing there telling the thing about, like, first that was mm, when this show wants to be disturbing, it is effective at it. In the first episode it was the sacrifice, and this one, yeah, uh Destiny saying, please let me out. Like, oh, make it stop. And thankfully, not very long after it does, and then he like imagines she's standing right, by him. And then like the way the voice fades into Janet's voice, very nicely done there. Um, and wow, he's like, I need you on my side. And I just want there to be an outtake where she goes, I am on your side. Oh, you mean I'm blocking your path. Okay, I'll step to the side. Yeah, dude. Are you for real right now? Like, okay, we get it. Lots of pressure, but still. And yeah. I feel really bad for Destiny, but I guess we kind of knew that must be what happened. Like, what else was... He is Pride. And yeah, I think that does bring us to the other thing where let's see, you have what's the word? You have the thing where so they find the coffin, and yeah, the thing about like they can't actually get it open, but they look with the goggles, and then they go to check on the dino, and the let's see, um yeah, you have yeah, Chase not really doing the best job at not coming across as a jock, opening the thing, and now there's a velociraptor running around in an American city, I want to say it is, which I haven't watched all of the Jurassic movies. I feel like I've heard that something like that happens in at least one of them. So maybe they're taking some inspiration. And let's see. Yeah, I think that pretty much gets us to the... So let's see. I think I'll talk about the date night. Oh, right. Actually, yeah. Okay. So there's the thing about you have the thing about the what's the word? You have the thing about the let's see. The thing about the two hippies talking about, they're gonna leave. They agree on leaving. Their only point of contention is whether they, just uproot the two, Gert and Molly's lives, or if they give them some kind of, yeah. And let's see. Yeah, the thing about, surprise soft serve. Surprise soft serve, it would definitely give us away. And I think that does bring us to the date night. So, yeah, the thing about, I mean, I appreciate that they actually, I was wondering, because I did, it's important to me that I have not and do not intend to watch the 50 Shades movies. Not because, I guess I've already made clear, I don't think there's anything wrong with women having, desires, but they sound like they're really, really badly done. If that were not the case, then I wouldn't have any problem. Yeah, moving on. But I know it because, let's see, I want to say, was it? I watched at least one video talking about it, talking about those movies where it was talked about. I think it was maybe, could have been Dan Olsen. He certainly did some really solid videos on those movies. Anyway, but yeah, yes, they explicitly point out, yeah, it's from that, but we are aware of that movie too, and it is I admire um, having the fortitude to write. This isn't a movie, trashy movie. This is real life. Into your script that also has a dinosaur escape containment and I guess run around an American city. Like, that's props off, or hats. Yeah. I think that does but yeah, and he points out, first for 2 years, we haven't had anything, and then the oh right, I guess that is so they were purposefully saying it has been 2 years. It just feels weird to say not since the administration, when that administration was 2 years. Like, that feels like a weird way to express that. Anyway, but yeah, then we have the and now you're going 0 to 100, and I think there's a chance that what he's really, it's because he wanted to go be with Janet, I think her name is. And yeah, now we find out, in I forget if I even mentioned that in my video on episode 2, but in episode 2, I don't think it was episode 1, I think it was episode 2, in one of the first 2 episodes, we see Janet answer the phone. She's like, "I'm so happy to hear your voice." And we were wondering who, because that's not her husband. And yeah, so we find out that he is ready to leave Tina, but he didn't talk to Janet about this. And yeah, like, you realize her. Well, let's see. She brings up pride. I was also thinking, like, her husband. Maybe she mentioned her husband as well. But yeah. And it is, again, like in real life. This. It seems as though, at least, that this woman cheating on her male partner, it's at least partially because he makes her feel unsafe. And that's, there's a lot of women who only cheated when their partner made them feel unsafe. And then there's a bunch of men who cheated because they got bored, because they, and they didn't just talk to their partner first about it. Like, unless you are afraid of your partner, you should talk to them, have an actual conversation, ideally instead of cheating, and certainly, if yeah. And I do think it is worse when men cheat on women than when women cheat on men. Now, I think that does bring us to the yeah, so Tina heads home, and that segues nicely into the the let's see, the uh the Nico, she tries to find her way into um the cabinet, um and at first she can't, and then she finds the diary, uh which I also noticed she took out of the drawer, so hopefully, that's very risky, but I do appreciate, it does feel really off-putting that she did that. Um, and I can imagine, so that's, they're doing several things very effortlessly there. I do think the show sometimes does a really solid job with the invisible hand of the screenwriters. Yes, multiple screenwriters sharing one hand. It's a timeshare thing. Don't even get me started, because one thing is, when Tina, next opens that drawer, for example, if she's looking for the diary, she's going to notice the diary is gone, especially if she was looking for it. Another thing is, they, well, I don't know if they, but Nico, I figure, might look at some of the stuff, some of the last entries, and maybe there's some kind of clue in there to something about pride. Um, yeah, and let's see, and it also does feel like, she thinks it, or she realizes it's inherently wrong for, you know, Tina to have that, especially now that she knows Tina is evil. But yeah, that was clever. She's opening the drawer, and then she has to walk through it, and then the thing opens, and YZ, I think they call it, the AI, says manual override engaged. Very very nicely done. And I am slightly unsure, and I can imagine we'll get the clear answer in a later episode, if you have to be a Minoru, or maybe Tina had special training. Maybe for Nico, it's just her general witchy ways in order to activate the staff. But it very clearly, like when Alex touched it, it seemed like it scorched his skin, and yeah. But that was clever, and she, yeah, she looks at one of the snowflakes, and the yeah, suddenly it's snowing in the middle of July. And let's see, then we have the what's the word, outside of that, there is the yeah, so she needs the snow to stop. Um, so she invents climate change, and in order to speed things up, she calls Alex, and yeah, um, the they managed to get the snow to stop and put the wand thing mirror away. And then they have to try to get, and they do manage. They get all the snow away. And I think they did a really good job on the both. See, that was a well done special effect. I'm glad they didn't try to use CG there, but like, yeah, they had like one of those little things that are they called snow machines, or is that just a me? Maybe that's just me directly translating into English what we call it in Danish, but yeah, and then when it cuts back later, we see a bunch of snow having fallen, and they're getting rid of it. Good job on both of those, and that's also one of those things where it's not gonna break the bank, and you can still make it look convincing. Fake snow goes back uh, some decades, although it has changed over the years, thankfully. And did they used to use asbestos, or is that an urban legend? I forget. I know they used to use something that today we'd be like, don't do that again. But the yeah, and the thing about the alpha user is approaching. The alpha user has arrived home, and yeah, Nico knows that there's yeah there's one very specific way to resolve this situation. And yeah, so him not looking away wasn't the biggest fan of that. I get it. It's, some considered romantic tension, but like, you can have that without consent violation. She specifically told him to look away, but see, once then she she gets into the position. I did think it worked when there's the thing about like, what were you gonna grab, like just hip. Okay, I can work with hip. That I think worked as just like romantic tension, because like you know yeah, the she's not comfortable with where he was going to put his hands, and the yeah, it worked as yeah. And yeah, as soon as Tina opens the door, yeah, she thinks that and yeah, as she says, so you weren't thinking about your father and I, you just wanted the house to yourself. Alex, it's time for you to leave. And see, now I'm wondering if the pair of parents both being in Pride makes it more or less likely that Tina is gonna like try to have Alex assassinated or something. Now, I think that does bring us to the yeah, very very yeah, the last few I don't know, the last minute maybe of the episode. So earlier we had Janet wondering, why didn't it help her father? Wait, Janet, crap. Yeah, I cannot keep all these names. Yeah, anyway, Mrs. Dean, she's like, why isn't it helping? And by the end of the episode, she knows why. I think this was also the first time we heard his voice, very nicely done on that. The way that it gets like distorted through the thing. But yeah, you have the thing about the let's see, yeah, the thing about, calling, and the that thing about like, turn on the local news. I'm not near a television. I'll wait. And yeah, so both of them know what, obviously, like, Chase's dad already knew, because he's the only one who could have done this. And I am a little worried they're gonna be able to realize Janet knows already. And yeah, I'm genuinely, I don't know exactly how this is gonna play out. If there's gonna be like factions of Pride, or like, who's gonna take whose side, or if they're gonna, I mean, uh, are they gonna try to have them killed, maybe even successfully, have this, oh, or do they maybe they need him more than, or is this sufficient failure that they're going to replace him? See, this is, I'm very excited to find out. And the next episode will be soon. Yeah, very excited to find out what's gonna, yeah, happen next. But I think that might, I will say, the moment that the, oh, TV, I was thinking it's the baby T-Rex maybe. But yeah. And yeah, I wonder if it's, which are they most upset about? The fact that he did this and did it without telling them, or that this was, without a doubt, the worst cover-up. But yeah, that's also because there's gonna be someone who knows that Destiny was a member of the Church of Gibberim. Uh, Maybe one of the reporters wrote down her name, took her picture, or something like that at in the first episode. So yeah, it's definitely, there's yeah. I think that might cover the and part of it is also the fact that, I mean, it looks like that, so if, let's see, if I understand correctly, basically her body washed up on shore, which, yeah, that does kind of make it seem, the oh, right. Before I, I definitely wanted to mention. So, I appreciated that Alex wasn't fooled by, Nico claims. No, no, no. She nerded a need. I mean, needed a nerd. But yeah. The let's see. Um, yeah. The thing about the, what's the word again? The Yeah, the fact that, like, it's one thing, the fact that not only was Destiny found dead, but she was specifically found in a way that makes it seem like, okay, yeah, this is like murder. This is, it doesn't seem, even remotely credible that this was anything other than murder, you know. They're gonna have to, you know, like, are they gonna be looking for the Bay Harbor Butcher, perchance?